IGT, baby.
What's cracking, guys? It's your boy Dream Mafia coming back to you with another video. So we got to talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw, and if I'm being honest, this was literally a middle of the road show. Like, it didn't hit like we normally see Monday Night Raw really deliver. So there's two few things that happened on the show that had me very interested in and definitely looking forward to see what's gonna go down. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So we have your new King of the Ring, Oba Femi, coming out to kick off Monday Night Raw, and for the most part, the crowd was very hyped, especially when he came out there. It wasn't on the level with Saudi Arabia. Let's be real about that. Like, Atlantic City, just the U.S. in general, we got to do a hell of a better job when it comes down to making shows a lot more interesting. Like, I feel like that always been something we've been lacking a lot. So I hope we do better with that. My apologies. So Oba comes out there and he pretty much was saying, you know, people should notice him now as the King of the Ring, you know, instead of being the ruler. And all those things, and talking about him making a decision on who he gonna face and all that stuff. But we knew it was a matter of time before Brock Lesnar make his appearances. Many times the Oba been calling him out over the last few weeks and stuff, and making reference to him and his promos. It was just a matter of time, and lo and behold, he ends up popping up on Monday Night Raw. So he comes up there with Paul Heyman, who we didn't see after he got speared from Braun Breaker weeks ago. So when that happened, he gets into the ring, and Brock Lesnar pretty much explained about, you know, giving him his respect to him winning King of the Ring, and we even was saying that I didn't know about it because I didn't watch the show. Like, Paul Heyman will have to fill me in on what's going on, and I'll be up to speed. So he was saying about how, you know, you come here every week and you pretty much calling me names and stuff like that. And, you know, brought up how he called him a coward and called him a bitch and all that stuff. So Brock found it hilarious and all that too. And pretty much was saying, well, you know what I was saying, talk shit and you'll get hit. And hits him with a low blow. And then proceeds to follow up with an F5. Connects it, and then walk out. Some music plays, and you thinking it's over. Oba like, nah, bump that. Got up, grabs the mic, and proceeds to say, like, we're not gonna do this. You ain't gonna sit there, hit me with an F5 in the middle of the ring and walk off like you normally do and all. Like, that ain't happening. He's saying that, yeah, when it comes out of nicknames, yeah, I have one for you. And he said, you're a bitch. And brought up about, like, you think this is over? It's not over. And we're going to settle this at SummerSlam when it's you and me going at it. So Brock accepted the challenge, but said, I'm going to up the ante, and it's going to be us, but inside Hell in a Cell. And once he said that, I was excited for this. If you're talking about a good way to close out a feud, that's a particular match that needs to happen. Similar to what happened with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins at Night of Champions when they had a steel cage match. As much as the time they've been colliding with each other and had to come to an end, it ended off with a steel cage with Seth Rollins being the winner. So, of course, in this case, for Oba and Brock, that's going to deliver. You talk about carnage and just nothing but crash outs between these guys. Man, oh man, it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup right there. So I was excited. Definitely a good way to start up the show right now. It makes Oba look even more strong than what it is after literally getting low blow and getting F5 and still up and still want to smoke with Brock. So this makes things a lot interesting, but it also leads to what's going to happen, you know, now that he has a shot to either face Roman or Sami and all that too, because that question still haven't been answered. So when we get back from commercial break, you see Paul Heyman talking to Adam Pearce backstage, and he let him know, like, you know, the match is official, like, you know, this should be a lot more attention towards it, like, this is your money making match right here. So Adam Pearce, I know I get it and all that too, but ain't paying no mind. Then he come across over and he told him, he said, yeah, I heard what you said in that ring earlier. Like, are you sure about Open? Like, yes. And we're saying, like, championships, they're gonna be here. They ain't going nowhere. I'm always going to challenge him for it right now, but I need to handle business with Brock Lesnar. I need to put this to an end right now and let it be known, make the match official, and it will be all a Hell in a Cell, me and Brock, done deal. So now this pretty much confirms that he's not going to be facing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. We thought he could potentially put a double duty, similar to what Roman did in WrestleMania 40, but he made his mission like, I'm gonna get my title opportunity, but let me handle business first, and then we'll focus on that right after. So that's what it's looking like, and it's been official. So match is set right now, which, in my opinion, that's gonna be night 2. It has to main event night 2. So I'm definitely excited for this and looking forward to it. And then after that, the show pretty much went on autopilot for the most part. Crowd was there. Nobody really cared much about it. There was a segment with EO when she came out there, and she's talking about how when over Liv Morgan to become queen of the ring and stuff, and especially challenging her for the title. So that caused Liv to come out there, and she's talking about how EO's win, it was unfair because Danhausen pretty much cursing her before the match even started and stuff, and that's where she felt like EO had the fair advantage of and a winning. But let it be known, like, come SummerSlam, I'm still gonna beat you, and I'm gonna retain as champion. So that happened, and you knew the numbers game gonna play a point in this. That's seeing Roxanne and Raquel on both sides of the ropes and all, going in and start attacking EO, and then she ended up taking them all out there and gets the upper hand over Liv Morgan, and she got to go up for a moonsault, but of course Raquel was there to pretty much intercept that and pull her down and start attacking the knee that played the focal point when Liv pushed her off in Night of Champions, and she fell awkwardly on the steel steps. So they was gonna target that knee specifically, which they ended up doing and all. And of course, Liv hits her with Oblivion, and then that was pretty much it. So I think they're gonna turn this into a storyline where EO's knee will play a part of all of this leading up to SummerSlam and shit like that. So we'll see how things turns out, but at this point right now, it was like, it was an alright segment. I just lost interest into it, if I'm being honest. So there was that. Throughout the show now, I'm on the topic with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day situation. Of course, Dominic and JD, big head ass JD, was looking for Danhausen because of everything that been transpiring, and of course, they're gonna get their revenge as far as their money being lost, all that stuff. So they came across Danhausen's jersey, Nick's jersey, so he ends up getting that and had it for pretty much the whole show. So of course, you see Danhausen comes back, don't see it, and he's upset. Liv Morgan comes in and says, that's what you get now for putting us in this position and all that. Ain't gonna curse us now. We're gonna get our get back on you in that fashion. So the reason they did that, I don't know. They pretty much prolonged this shit. It needs to come to a complete end. So they had a match with Chad Gable taking on JD McDonough. So through the duration of the match, you knew Dominic gonna get involved, but then Danhausen pops out of nowhere with a briefcase, and this is when Dom started giving chase to Danhausen, and of course Chad Gable was able to take advantage of it because JD was so his eye was not focused on the match, and Chad Gable ended up winning with an ankle lock, taps him out, done deal. And once he was done, you see Dom came back and him and JD looking at the briefcase. So they opened it up and it's fake money in there, but some type of like powder hit their face and they fall out. So typical shit. So kind of expected that day. Then Danhausen grabs his jersey, goes up to the ramp area, and he about to leave. And then of course Raquel attacks him from behind. And I don't know how this motherfucker disappears out of nowhere, but you see them grab the jersey, gave it to him and all that stuff, and yeah, that was pretty much it. So I'm like, there's that. But I did like one of the segments here too. You see, Chad Gable before his match was speaking to Oh well, I'm actually all over the place. How the fuck I forget about this? When Adam Pearce was talking to Paul Heyman, you saw Austin Theory came up there like, "Yo, we haven't seen you since that whole situation with Braun Breaker and him spearing you, and also you just pop up out of nowhere with no response, no text or anything. You didn't show up for Night of Champions." And Paul Heyman kind of brushed off like, "Well, I'm here now, so fuck it." Like, it don't matter at this point right now, and pretty much had his hands full. So we're starting to see how the vision looking right now is not a good look whatsoever. Surely ain't. So, now to piggyback off that, Austin Theory, well, before we get to Austin Theory, some apologies on that, y'all. Chad Gable was talking to Maxine, and she wanted to apologize about how she pretty much was talking to Chad Gable last week on Raw, but she meant every word about it. But the way how she approached him about it is what she apologized. And of course, Chad Gable said, "You don't need to. I should be the one that should be doing that." And in due time, you'll come around, and we'll start back to square one and build from there. So there was that. But she had a match with Raquel, of course, got squashed, and after that, you seen her backstage just frustrated and all, and Austin Theory came up there and he was saying like, I've seen you over there talking to Chad Gable, and it's like, what's that all about? Like, you already was in a down state when you was with him and how he treated you, and now you trying to like go back or anything like that. It's like, look at the position you in. Like, you want to win, you need to start thinking like other directions than him. So they kind of planting the seeds of seeing like things is turning out between Austin Theory and Maxine and all that stuff. So we'll see how thing turns out, and we'll go from there. So next is LA Knight versus Jimmy, and Jay was going to be out there with him, especially after losing to Oba and Night of Champions. He was going to be on edge and fired up, and then of course with LA Knight being in the mix and stuff, he was even more pissed off. So the match itself was a solid match, and Jay kept getting involved. He kept talking shit, and LA Knight been hearing that. So LA Knight was at one point, it was going to literally throw Jimmy into Jay and kind of like, fake them and all that, put a little joke on him. So hearing Jay talking shit, so you know what? I fed up with him and literally snuffs him and all that too, dropping him. And as he gets into the ring, Jimmy tried to take advantage of it. So LA Knight tries to get the upper hand on him. So the climax of the match, Jay was going to get involved once again. So once LA Knight knocked him down, that was when Jimmy takes advantage of it, rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3, and he came out with the win. So as pissed as he was at Jay, he took his frustration out on Jimmy, beats him up. Then Jay gets in there, tries to like beat him up as well. So Jimmy's leaning on the ropes. Out of nowhere, you see Solo comes up there, hits him with a Samoan spike, and then takes off. And of course, Jay looking at Solo, and he's pissed off at him. That's when LA Knight hits him with the BFT and going from there. So you gotta see Solo inserting himself in this whole bloodline situation with the Usos and LA Knight, and he pretty much trying to help him out or gain LA Knight's trust through the process of that. So once that was done, we cut the backstage, and now they both heated right now, and they talking to Jericho like, well, he wasn't there to assist us. He said, I don't answer orders from you, Jimmy, and I don't answer orders from your punk ass, Jay. And I don't answer from Roman Reigns. And he was saying like, with the orders from the tribal chief is that I'm gonna go to SmackDown and handle business with Solo. So Jay like, I'm gonna tag along with you as well, because now that Sammy doesn't have an opponent, for SummerSlam, maybe I should go down there now and challenge him and go put gold around my race and handle business, on that brand. So it looks like that's gonna happen there. Do I envision a circumstance that Jay could be Sammy to become champion? Absolutely not. Don't see that happening. But it looks like there's gonna be the motion with that going on. So we'll see how things turns out and what LA Knight actually side with Solo, on this journey as well when it comes down to the Usos. So we'll see what happens there. And then of course you had the main event with Roman coming out there with um Jacob, and comes out there, tells, and then they say take knowledge on over farming as usual. But then Seth Rollins music hits. So he comes out there, man's ain't wasting no time. He gets in there and he was pretty much was saying that it's been a while since we saw each other, and we're saying that you have a title that I never lost and I'm here to collect. So of course I'm like, yeah, okay, it ain't happening. Then he was saying that how, the history with the Shield 14 years ago, how everything has been from then to now, and pretty much was trying to like give Roman his flowers from, you being a successor after that moment there, winning world titles, main eventing, being that top guy for a long period of time, all those things. But he said all that happened because of me, and because of that, like I own you, like I own you in this ring, I own you in your mind, your heart, everything. I own your ass, and should be thanking me how you got to this position, because I never did what I did, you probably wouldn't have all this stuff. And was even bringing up the fact that, you did all these things, you beat everybody, but you never had beaten me. And he could tell you in his mind, and Seth was telling Roman like, I know that kind of triggers you hearing that, but it's the truth. And we can settle this at SummerSlam. So Roman brings up, he said, yeah, I appreciate you, giving my flowers and all that stuff. And when it come down to you having a title ring, like you ain't doing nothing worthy enough to earn it. So you'd be at the back of the line. But then he also remember exactly what Seth said as far as him not beating him, and that became a little triggering. And even mentioned that you're right, like I don't have to, like I think he said I don't have to beat you, but I need to beat you, something like that. I know I'm trying to paraphrase, but it's not coming up the way I wanted to. But he pretty much said I need to do it to take this monkey off my back and to finally be done and over with. Because Seth also brought up that, when it came down to us 14 years ago, we ran everything. We were pushing the old generation out, and we was those top guys right there that nobody could mess with us for a long period of time. And now with a new generation coming in, they're gonna look to try to do the same thing. So why not go at each other one last time and close this chapter, in the history books between you and me? So of course Roman was gonna oblige to say, you know what, you're right. Like, I need to end you right now and move on from all of this and close this chapter of history when it comes down to the Shield and everything, and be done with it. So he assessed Seth Rollins' challenge, and like that's going to be it's set and official right now. And I think that's going to be a match that's going to be for night one, May event night one. So, I feel like it took too long to get to that point to saying that, okay, I'm going to challenge you at SummerSlam, but we end up getting it now, and Roman has his opponent and shit like that. So I think the match is going to deliver, bar none. Like, that's going to be good. But do I see Seth Rollins beating Roman Reigns? Absolutely not. So there was that. But overall, like I said, this was a middle of the road show. Nothing too crazy and all that stuff. And if I had to get a rating, of course, I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. And it's only just because of the Brock and Oba Hell in a Cell match being official, and then everything else with like the Uso, LA Knight and Solo, and then of course the main event area with Seth and Roman. So there it was. But comment down below. Let me know what you feel about Monday Night Raw. What was your best part of the show? What was your rating? And are you looking forward to, SummerSlam leading up to everything else going down? But I definitely want to hear your opinions down below. And I appreciate your love and support. Road to 300 subscribers. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do at life. Your time will come. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Peace.